myself really quickly. Ah, stop. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Passing the Torch workshop by the Student Org Consultants. This will hopefully help your org out with the officer transitions, as well as how to properly pass the torch from one regime to the next. So why are transitions important? They ensure the continual success of your organization and its leaders. They properly prepare and inform new officers and leaders of their new roles as long as they're done properly. Provide the new leadership with all the tools they need to grow the organization and pass it after the term, as well as prevent your organization from falling apart upon your graduation. We often get many organizations that literally fall apart after they graduate because the new leadership has no idea what's going on because the previous leadership did not properly transition them. So that's why it's very important for you to transition your org from one regime to the next, because if not, then the organization will ultimately fail and most likely fall apart upon your graduation. The first tip is to start early. Have elections a few weeks before the end of the semester to allow time for new officers to plan. This also allows your new officers to shadow the incumbent officers, as well as give new officers opportunities to gain familiarity with their new positions before being flung into the role over the summer. As I mentioned prior, a lot of the orgs fail if the transitions aren't done properly. And a big reason for this is when they don't start early, they don't have any plan in place. Elections are right before graduation, and then as soon as graduation hits, the incumbent officers just leave. So that's why it's really important to start early. It gives the new officers an opportunity to shadow, as well as to gain a familiarity with their new positions, as I said prior. An example of this is helping them lead a meeting, plan an event, or complete another task typical for the position. It also provides training for the new officers if you start early. Provide training, as I mentioned on the previous slide. Put a training requirement in your constitution. Training topics include Victor's Link, important forms, both on Victor's Link and financial forms, event planning, as well as how to deal with the SOAC and the various fundraising and follow-up forms and everything that entails with the SOAC. Teach them the processes for your student org. Each student org sometimes has different processes outlined in their constitutions. So it's imperative that you make the new officers familiar with those processes prior to you graduating. Inform them about the various OSL recruitment events that occur throughout the year, especially Go Blue Orientation Day, the involvement fairs, as well as homecoming. And again, make sure that you know that we, the OSL, are also here to help. In addition to this workshop, we provide various different workshops that are geared to kind of helping not only new officers, but also incumbent officers. So just let us know. And if you want to help if you want to use one of our workshops or one of our presentations with your training, just let us know and we would be more than happy to help you out. Keep records. Find a way to keep records of the things that were accomplished during your leadership. These can include events, members, fundraising, vision, mission, budget information. This can be achieved through Victor's Link, the Google Suite, as well as other apps. This just kind of helps the organization kind of keep a record of everything that happens from year to year, from one regime of leadership to the next, and also can kind of help new officers deal with problems or issues, because if maybe you dealt with something familiar to what they're dealing with in the past, then maybe they can use how you handled it and kind of help them guide them to the right solution. Be available. This is probably the most important thing to kind of help with passing the torch in your organization. Inevitably, the new officers will run into some sort of problems or have questions, not only in the summer, but also once the next school year begins, and mainly during their first semester as being in charge of the organization. If you're graduating, be open to coming back in as alum. If you're not graduating, make sure you come back to the organization as a member. We're not expecting you all to just come back to college every day or every time your organization has or your former organization has any issues or problems. But make sure that you respond to calls and or texts from officers in need of assistance. It can be as simple as just a 5-minute call conversation or just a few sentences in a text message. It really goes a long way. It helps things on our end as an office, but it also really helps your org continue to strive and not, as I mentioned before, not completely be destroyed upon your graduation. And lastly, it'll help your organization continue to thrive and prevent any additional problems from popping up. Yeah, and it's just a nice thing to do, is to be available and to kind of help your former organization out, even after you're gone. So obviously, there is nobody here right now. So these questions can be directed to the org consultants at umich.edu, as well as you want to set up a meeting, and we can also kind of discuss things more thoroughly and more in depthly, and help you out with any questions or any assistance that you may need. But that's the Passing the Torch Transition Workshop presented by the Student Org Consultants. Thank you for watching, and hope to hear from you again soon.